Today, I'm going to show you how to make a custom coffee sleeve to give your cup more bling bling and take out any confusion of whose cup it is when you set it down. After making a pattern, I cut the design out of leather. Next is off to the laser cutter to give it some customized flair. I'm wanting to hand stitch this, so I tack it in place with StarBond's brown CA glue. A quick squirt of accelerator and the glue dries in seconds. I slip the leather over a scrap of 1x2 and use my hammer and a leather hole punch to poke some holes. Rather than tying a knot, try this sick trick. After threading the needle, pull out some extra slack and thread it back into the thread. Then pull it tight. To stitch the leather, I'm using 2 needles. Both needles go into the same hole, but are threaded from opposite sides of the leather. Once done, I hit all the knots with a mini torch, and there you have it, a personalized leather coffee sleeve. This sign really hit home with me, less with a pair of scissors and more like a pair of vice grips and me rounding off the heads of things. I meant to do a filament change to gold at the end of the print, but it was 2 a.m. and, well, I couldn't stay awake. I reprinted it into a thin layer of gold PLA and used StarBond to attach it. I really like StarBond's thick CA glue because it gives me time to move it around before it sets. Here's a cool trick on how to form a 3D print. I designed this little I make tag and want to custom form it to a certain curvature. By reheating the 3D printer bed and placing it on it for about 30 seconds, the print will become pliable and allow you to shape it. Once cool, the print will then reharden. I first spray some accelerator on the shoe, then apply a heavy helping of clear StarBond to the tag. Once I high-five the two together, I have about 4 seconds of last wishes and wiggles before the glue sets. I have to admit, I've been wearing these shoes non-stop the past couple weeks, and the tags are still on there. I was a little worried I would have torn one off by now, but the glue's holding strong and look as great as the day I made it. Whoa there, little tangle buddies. I have a cool hack to help you get rid of those tangled tears and wrangle those free roaming little cords and wires. The world already knows that StarBond works amazing on rapidly gluing wood together. Duh, but did you know it's strong enough to provide anchor points for those loose cables on your baseboards, desks, and walls? Print off some of these zip tie anchors and end the tangled tears and stand up to your wrangling fears. Does this happen to you? When it comes to stick deodorant, I'm a huge fan, and I'm also a huge fan of getting more people to wear it on 100-degree days at amusement parks. But I'm not a fan of how when it gets low, it self-destructs and shoots across my bathroom floor. Put it into your deodorant drama with a few drops of StarBond. One of the nicest and most useful 3D prints I've ever printed might just be this featherboard, designed to hold your piece of wood tight against a table saw or bandsaw fence. The quality of this featherboard is as nice as my name brand one. In order to secure the bolts and nuts from backing out, I hit all the holes with a little clear CA glue. This thing has been rock solid and all the nuts and bolts are still secure as the day I made it. For a test cut, I'm using a 1/4 inch piece of plywood. Now I have to be honest, I only own one feather board, the name brand one I mentioned before, and I only use it on my table saw. After using this one I created off the 3D printer, I have to be honest, I think this might be the straightest cut I've ever made on this bandsaw. I recently threw down on an airbrush kit and airbrushed this 3D printed Santa I found on Etsy. The print looks pretty sick, but it's missing a way to hang it, so I designed this hook in Tinkercad to attach to the back. I gave it a little extra helping of Christmas spirit in a bottle, CA glue, and sped up the holding process by hitting it with some accelerator. My key fob was getting a little wonky the other day. It would lock the doors while in my pocket, and after a little research, I found all it needed was a little CA glue. Let me show you. Every key fob will be a little different to open, but this key fob is for my 2010 Dodge Ram. Once I get the grain circuit board out, you'll notice the metal contacts are floating around all willy-nilly. That's not supposed to be happening. See, the metal contact should be glued to the rubber, and when you press the button, it makes contact with the circuit board and initiates the command. Instead, they're floating around making random connections every time I sit down while chilling in my pocket. To fix this, I'm going to use StarBond's micro tip to re-glue these metal contacts. Using an ice pick, I position them back into place and then let them dry. All that's left is a quick test, and all I can say is, wow, this feels like a brand new fob again. Did I mention I was cheap? Here's a cool little tip. If you blow out your StarBond's microchips right after using them with an air compressor, they can be reused for a second time. I always get a kick out of strength tests, so I wanted to see how strong StarBond is with a small connection point, especially to see how fast StarBond dries with their quick accelerator. Both the ring and hooks were 3D printed, and if you saw my previous video, I made this anvil which is made of wood with a steel top. It weighs about 12 pounds. With only 16 seconds of dry time, I was quite surprised it had fully cured and was capable of lifting a load. Overall, I give it high marks for strength and quick dry time. My son is finally at the age where he's learning to throw something other than his fastball. Curveball, slider, knuckleball, you name it, are just a few. His coach asked him to throw a curveball the other day, and he mentioned he'd remember the finger placement on the ball. This might be a far stretch, but it got me wondering if a dot of CA glue on a practice ball might help him remember finger placement as kids learn how to pitch. The best thing you can put on a chip bag to close it is, well, a chip clip. And the next best thing you can put on a chip bag is, well, anything you can find. But if you're like me and always find yourself camping without a chip clip, or just at a sweet party and have 7 open bags of chips, fear not. Try a dab of CA glue to keep your tater skins fresh and your family wondering how you know all these hacks. There are a lot of designs of push sticks out there, and this one I really like. The longer reach push stick does a nice job of giving me great control while keeping me safely away from the blade. I quickly traced out an older one I've been using out of a piece of oak flooring. Next is over to the bandsaw to cut out the template. Over at my fabulous makeshift router table, I knock down all the sharp edges and make it more enjoyable on the hands. Next, I drill 2 holes to a predetermined depth by the sharpening mark on the drill bit, and after that I apply a healthy amount of CA glue to the holes and speed up the process by spraying accelerator on the magnets. I threw on a little paste wax to give the push sticks a nice finish, but primarily for that great quality feel. With magnets CA glued into my push sticks, I can easily store them at the base of my saws when not in use. For example, when I'm using my table saw sled, and then easily reach for them when I need them again. These containers look similar in size, right? The off-brand container contains 0.14 ounces, while StarBond contains 2 ounces. So how much is 0.14 ounces? Well, let's take a look inside. This off-brand superglue cost me $4. You would need 14 of them at a price of $56 to equal 1 2-ounce StarBond. I want to thank the folks over at StarBond for sponsoring this video. Links in the description for everything you saw in the video, including this very cool StarBond container I designed. You can save 15% off of your order at StarBond's website by using promo code WoodenCreations15 at checkout. I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.